Today's coaster review is of the Jackrabbit at Kennywood. This is one of the park's 3 historic wooden roller coasters, and today I'll be reviewing it and giving my full thoughts about the ride. As usual, let's start with the stats. Its maximum height is 40 feet, but it has a drop of 70 feet because this coaster really uses its terrain to its advantage. I mean, the lift hill isn't until halfway through the ride. Right out of the station, you're making a turn and dropping. Its maximum angle of descent is 45 degrees. That is at the second drop. The first drop is not that steep. Although something to note is that the second drop is the double down. Its maximum speed is 45 miles per hour. It goes over 2,132 feet of track. And its duration is 1 minute and 36 seconds. This is not the smoothest ride in the world, but it's an old wooden roller coaster, so what do you expect? It's not going to be as smooth as a GCI or RMC, but it wasn't that bad. It's very tolerable. It's not unbearable, but it's also not glass smooth either. Now, something that's cool with this ride is the way its station is set up. You don't wait for individual rows. Everyone waits in one long line, and then they'll cut it off, and then when the train comes in the station, if you happen to be at the front of the line, you get first pick of seats, and so on and so forth. If you want to wait for a specific row that's already been taken, then you simply step aside and let the people behind you go in front of you. I actually did this when I went to ride Jackrabbit. I wanted back row, but it was already taken, so I simply just asked if I could wait for back row, and I was able to do that, and the people behind us went. And I just got on the next train and it was completely fine. And the restraints for this ride are also very different. Your main restraint is a seat belt. They do have a lap bar, but it does not touch your body. The bar is more for you to hold on to. It's pretty high above your knees. The main thing holding you in is this seat belt. So because of that, if your seat belt isn't as tight as it should be, you're probably going to float out of your seat more, especially on that double down. And let's talk about the double down because that is the best part about this roller coaster. There are very few roller coasters out there that I distinctly remember that feeling of airtime that I got because it was memorable. Jackrabbit has very unique airtime. It's only at one point on the ride, that double down. This is by far some of the best airtime I have ever experienced. What happens is you go down that 45-degree drop and then level out and then drop again. That first drop doesn't really do anything. It's when you level out and drop again. That's when you just fly up out of your seat. I was riding with my dad, and after that happened, we just looked at each other and we were like, whoa, holy cow. It really was crazy. There are very few roller coasters that have provided airtime like that. Now, unfortunately, the rest of the ride isn't that great. I wasn't really crazy about the rest of the coaster. I loved the double down, but the rest of it was pretty tame. It was a mild coaster. And I wasn't really impressed with the rest of it. You ride this coaster for the double down. If that element wasn't there, then this coaster would be getting a lot lower of a score. You don't ride this coaster because of how fast it goes. You don't ride it because it's a tall ride. You ride it because it has really unique airtime in this element that you don't see on too many roller coasters. So it's time for the final score, and I'm giving Jackrabbit a 6. And the reason it's earning those 6 points is because the double down is awesome. I like the restraint system. And the reason it's not getting a higher score is because of the rest of the ride is just kind of eh. Opposite from the double down, it's not memorable. And it doesn't do much for you at all. It's basically just there so that it provides a longer ride. And that you're not just going down a double down and that's it. So I want to know from you what you think of Jackrabbit at Kennywood. And make sure to stay tuned for more coaster reviews. And if you're new to Coaster Studios, you can check out a bunch of coaster reviews I've done in the past. They're all available on a playlist in alphabetical order based off of the ones that I've written. And there's lots more to come. So make sure to stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys next time.